Disabilities Issues and Updates on BCTV is supported by the Berks County Center for Independent Living, Abilities in Motion.
Hello, and welcome to Disabilities Issues and Updates. My name is Teresa Faulkner, and I am your host. I work at Abilities in Motion as the Consumer and Community Outreach Coordinator. Today, we have a wonderful topic. We're going to be dealing with glaucoma. We'd like to welcome our guest, of course, Elizabeth Setterly, and our special guest today is Debbie Razier, and she is the Supervisor of Core and Housing Services at the Lehigh Valley Center for Independent Living in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Welcome this morning. Listen, we want to let you know that we are not the experts. We are just giving food for thought, but our guest today will be dealing with her experience or discussing her experience with the topic of glaucoma. Let me just give you some insight. Glaucoma is commonly referred to as the silent thief of sight and is one of the leading causes of preventable blindness worldwide. It affects over 3 million Americans and 70 million people around the world, most of whom don't even know that they have it. Glaucoma is a group of eye diseases characterized by damage of the optic nerve, the nerve that transmits visual information from the eye to the brain. It most causes the nerve damage and is produced by increased fluid in the eye. Over time, it causes damage throughout the optic nerve. Through early detection, diagnosis, and treatment, you and your doctor can help to preserve your vision and often protect your eyes against serious vision loss. There are different types of glaucoma: childhood glaucoma, traumatic related glaucoma, normal tension glaucoma, just to name a few. We rely on the professionals to help us to understand any issues or concerns we are having. Through regular eye exams, which is very important, we ask the question sometimes, who is at risk of glaucoma? Everyone should be concerned about glaucoma and its side effects. It is important for each of us, from infants to senior citizens, to have our eyes checked regularly. Deborah, or Debbie, it's wonderful to have you on our show this morning. And because our topic is about glaucoma, let's talk about your experience.
Okay. I was actually born totally sighted. And at 18 and a half months old, I actually, one morning I woke up and I was told that I just reached out for a glass of milk and I touched at the wrong place. I couldn't see where I was touching, and I just kind of went down my dad's arm till I found the glass of milk. And they looked at my eyes and they were basically every color of the rainbow, but there was no white. There was no just the regular color of my eye. They took me to the doctor, and after many appointments and trying to get it under control, by the age of 3, I lost sight in my right eye, and I had already had 13 surgeries by that time.
Deborah, can I just ask you a question? Was your family prepared that you might be at risk of glaucoma? Was that a discussion within your family?
Not at all. I was the first one in my family to have glaucoma. I don't know of anybody before me in the family, in previous generations or anything that had glaucoma. So, as I grew up, I had asked the doctor, like, if I had a family, what are the chances? And the doctor told me that, since I was like 1 in a million, my children would be like 1 in 100,000, their children 1 in 10,000. I do have 4 children. 2 out of 4 of them do have glaucoma.
Wow. Now let me ask another question. What was that experience like for your parents? You as a child losing sight, what were visits like, and how was their experience of being educated more about the glaucoma process?
They had no clue about glaucoma, or that there would be any problem. Like I said, as I was being raised, I was a normal baby infant, and then things just all of a sudden one day changed. I do have a brother who did not have any sight problems. I was seen regularly. I had a doctor here, but they said Philadelphia had more technology, more doctors, more experience. So I actually have been a patient of Shea Eye Institute for many, many years.
So in your conversation earlier, you mentioned that you had several operations. Was that to try to save your vision or to restore your vision? What was that like for you or in your family?
I don't remember any of it. I was really young then. I have had surgery since then that I do remember. In the beginning, it was to try and save the eye and everything. And actually, after all the different surgeries and stuff, I had my right eye removed because the doctor said that if I kept it, I would lose sight in both eyes because it kept spreading. So I had lower vision in my left eye as well. But I could do everything. I didn't need a cane or larger print. They actually, in school, they gave me stuff in larger print, and it actually slowed my reading down even further. So they put it back to the normal print, and I did well in school. So,
as you stated, you were a child, so there are things that you don't remember, but I'm sure that there were times that you and your parents had conversation as far as what was going to happen in school, how you were going to further your education, some of the barriers that you were going to have to deal with. Can we talk about those things a little bit, as much as you can remember?
Sure. Going through school, I was placed in what they called the Braille class, which was visually impaired and blind children. So basically, we just met in the classroom in the morning. We had, like, at that time, opening exercises and stuff. And then each child would go to their respective classroom, being mainstreamed. We'd come back for lunch, and then we'd go back out into the regular classes for the afternoon and everything. I went through regular gym classes, all the other stuff that kids would go through. I did have, like, typing in 5th grade because of my handwriting being so bad. So that was one thing that was a little bit different. But like I said, I took all the gym classes and stuff. I did have trouble with, like, for baseball or tennis or something like that because I couldn't see the ball coming. So I would, kind of sit on the sidelines for that stuff. But everything else, I was integrated into everything. Yeah.
Wonderful. So let's talk about teenage years. Did you feel any different? Did people make you feel that you were different than they were because of the fact you had lost your sight? What was that like for you?
There was a lot of teasing. Kids are really cruel. Anyway, I did go about my time. I did everything everybody else did. School, I had a few close friends, but nothing, not a lot of interaction. I did get involved in different things. I was in chorus through school. I did join a couple different clubs and everything. In junior high school, I walked to school. Later on, I was put on a bus, like a transportation system for those with disabilities. And so I got to school and got home. And as I got older, I didn't want that. So over the winter, usually I used it because it was easier because of not being, depth perception was off. So, seeing the ice or where to step and everything, I would get taken to school, but I would actually either walk home or take a regular city bus home in the afternoons.
Wow. One of the things I heard you say was that you decided what it was that you wanted. There were choices. You were able to say, I don't want to do that. And can I ask, what made you really say, I don't want to ride the bus? What was that?
I guess I didn't want to be different and picked out of a crowd and getting on a smaller, quote, special bus to get to and from. I just wanted to be integrated with the other kids.
So you're even saying that there were times you felt that bus was drawing attention perhaps to your disability.
Yeah, I think so. And, I couldn't read the blackboard, so I always had to sit in the front of the class. And you were made to feel different,
Wonderful, wonderful. So I'm sure as you went through elementary and then middle school and then high school, what were your thoughts as you were soon going to be exiting high school? What were you thinking about?
You know what? I listened to different kids at that time and now that are planning their future and stuff. And I really didn't have any idea or any goals or anything like that. There is an organization called the Bureau of Blindness and Visual Services, and they started talking to me about what I was going to do out of high school. I went for some kind of test in Philadelphia, and it was, through the Blindness and Visual Services, and just kind of getting what my ideas were, what things I liked, like an interest type of test and everything. And I actually did end up going to college, but it was more, I want to say last minute. It wasn't planned very far in the future, it was like last minute, I think as a senior in high school. But I did go on to college. I got a degree in early child education. Every semester I went to college, I would go in, and Blindness and Visual Services was assisting with, getting the books and making sure I got into class and stuff. And because of that extra paperwork and they paid for part of it, my portion was paid from us, but Blindness and Visual Services was always behind by a little bit. So my first day in college, every semester I was kicked out, told that I wasn't allowed in the classroom, had to go back to like the administration and student services and figure out what was going on. And in the beginning, I had no clue this was going to happen. So I was, in the first couple semesters, I was really upset that I didn't know, I wasn't allowed in there, and I really had to advocate for myself.
Wonderful, wonderful. As you were talking, you were saying about that college was kind of like a last minute resort, not a resort, but a last minute choice that you had actually
Mhm.
chose to go. My question to you, is it because of your blindness that you, or was it because of the resources that would be available to you if you went to college? And then the second question is, how were resources at the time you went to college?
I I just didn't have any. I don't know. I didn't have any clue about college or
Mhm.
what I was going to do as an adult. I was just going through school and going through the motions, and it was never really brought up to me before.
Mhm.
So I just, it just kind of fell into place as Blindness and Visual Services talked to me about it.
Wonderful.
As far as the resources, there were not a lot. I felt like I had to fight my way through school. Like sometimes it was like, how are you going to do it? You're visually impaired. How are you going to work with kids?
Mhm.
You can't do this because whatever it was, you can't see this or you can't do that, or I needed some books in a larger print or different resources so that I could utilize everything.
Mhm.
I did start getting equipment like magnifiers, a closed circuit TV, different items to help me to be more independent and to help me with my studies.
Mhm. As you were talking, I was thinking about, even as a child, you were advocating for yourself. You didn't want to feel different. You felt like you could, not only did you feel like, but you could do anything that anybody else was doing. And even as a child, you were advocating for yourself. As
Mm.
persons who might be dealing with sight loss or visual loss or blindness, uh, uh, and they're thinking this morning, oh, I don't think I can do that. Can you speak to that situation? Can you speak to the I can't do that?
You can do anything you want to do. Because of working at the Center for Independent Living, I do get calls from time to time of people that are losing their sight. And, it's not in part of my conversation to say, hey, this is what's going on, or this can happen to you. But I tell them, once you get through that grieving process and stuff, you can do anything you want to. And, I do get some pushback from that. And then I do tell people that I am totally blind, and their demeanor kind of changes pretty quickly.
Mhm.
But I do believe in that strongly. I still do everything, taking care of household chores and doing the cooking and doing the cleaning. I tell everybody I do everything except mow my lawn outside, because that would look like a patchwork quilt. But other than that, I do everything else. I've tried mowing the lawn, and really it was bad.
Let's talk a little bit about your achievements. When you and I discussed things privately, I was just amazed. Tell our audience about some of the things you've achieved. We've already talked about the cooking and the cleaning and raising a family and things like that. What other things, Debbie, have you achieved?
I have been, after losing sight, as I was losing sight, let's start there. I was told that without sight and sound, you cannot work with children. So without vision or without hearing, you can't work with children.
Mhm.
So when I had my third child, I quit work to start taking care of them at home. I
Mhm.
did some in-home daycare type of stuff for a while. As I was losing sight, I learned how to do chair caning and macrame lawn chairs. And I actually used that for a little bit of income, because while losing sight, I had to get on disability and take care of my family.
Mhm.
My husband couldn't deal with it. We actually did end up getting divorced. So I was a single mom raising kids, losing my sight all at the same time. As I noticed more and more sight going, I had no clue what I was going to be able to do at work. So I went back to school. I became a licensed massage therapist. I worked in massage for a while. And actually, I still do it on the side a little bit. But when I got the job at the Center for Independent Living, I was on the Allentown Human Relations Commission for several years. I then went on to the Pennsylvania Developmental Disabilities Council. I'm in a lot of different organizations. I am a member of the Lions Club because I felt as I was losing sight, they actually assisted me with several different things. I have gone to a guide dog school. I'm on my third guide dog since I started using them back in 1998. And in 1998, I still had some sight. It was just very, very hard to see. I lost my sight totally in 2000.
Guide dog service, animal, those type of things. With your strength and the tool of a service animal, you are really, as they would say, an independent woman.
I actually, after getting my second guide dog, I went into the Women's 5K Classic in Allentown. And the very first year, they put me all the way in the back of the line. We were the last person to start off the race. They were not sure what I would do with, or no, they weren't sure what the dog would do with so many people, and they weren't sure what the people would do with the dog.
Okay.
Well, dogs do not want to be in the back. So they would look to the left, look to the right, and if they'd find a space where they could pass, they'd pass. The very first race, we passed over 350 people, and the next year they left me anywhere I wanted to go. So we've done 5Ks from 2006 until last year. The last 2 years I didn't do it. I was having some problems with my feet. So yeah, I had plantar fasciitis for a while, and the doctor just didn't want me doing such a hard, like I'm still walking and everything, just not doing the races.
You know, sometimes when I do this show, it's only like a 30-minute show, and I get the information is so wonderful. I just wish it was an hour show, but it's not. We're almost coming to the end of our show, and I wanted you to, well, first of all, I want to thank you for being so open and honest concerning your experience. But I wanted to ask you, how are you looking at things for your children? Because I know that you stated that there is glaucoma in your family, or they're experiencing that. What is that looking like for them and for you as being their mother?
My children are fully grown. They have children of their own. I have 5 grandchildren. None of them have glaucoma, thank God. There are 2 that are wearing glasses that are nearsighted, and I think that's about it. And they've learned from me. Like I said to my children, actually not too long ago, I felt like as they were growing up with a single mom losing sight, like I was at home all the time, but I was doing things, and I didn't, I just didn't feel like I was a good role model for them. Like, how are they going to be able to work, and how are they going to know how to do this, that, or the other thing? And every one of my children has had 2 jobs, like, you know, a full-time and then either a part-time or a side job or something like that. And I'm very proud of them. And I look back and I think, you know, even though I felt like I wasn't doing anything, I was doing, you know, taking in babysitting, taking in chair caning and macrame lawn chairs, and doing craft shows, all kinds of stuff just to keep myself going. And I, you know, that was earning some money and doing stuff to to show the kids that you just keep going with what you have and what you can do. And
Wonderful.
I'm very proud of each one of them.
Wonderful. And we are proud of them also, but we are especially proud of you. Thank you, Debbie, for being our guest today. We really have enjoyed this conversation on glaucoma. We want to remind our viewers that it's very important, remember, from infancy to seniors, that you get eye examinations and rely on the professionals to keep you informed on things that you need to do. I want to remind our viewers that our office is still closed to the public due to the pandemic, but we are still available to assist and to help anyone in need. We are located at 210 North Fifth Street in Reading, Pennsylvania. And if you'd like to call us, you can reach us at 610-376-0010. My direct extension is 108. But if you'd like to speak to the operator, press O. Winter is almost over. Tomorrow we are entering into spring and new beginnings. I want to thank our guests again, Debbie, for being with us. Elizabeth, it's good to have you also. Listen, continue to be safe. And remember, there is a vaccine that is available. You don't have to wait or be in fear. There is a vaccine available for those that are seeking it. Enjoy your day. Ladies, be safe. And this was a wonderful topic and experience. Thanks much.
Thank you.
Disabilities Issues and Updates on BCTV is supported by the Berks County Center for Independent Living, Abilities in Motion.